I wanna be the future. Sorry I made mistakes. I promise that I can do better. I need to take this rage. Need to change it into a fiction. Rearrange all the things I said. Time to look at the bigger picture. They told me it's okay, so I go to my happy place. Need to sing everything away. Sing everything away. I can do almost anything. All the things that you ask of me. I can do almost anything. All the things that you ask of me.
Hello and welcome to a wonderful sunny Sunday afternoon. Wow, that was horribly that was horribly done. I sound like something out of a really bad English novel. But anyway, we're back. We're back and we're ready and we're doing things. It's so much fun to do things like this, honestly. I have a lot of fun with this shit. I'm not gonna lie. Ah, man. I hope everyone's prepared for a good and honest conversation today. And all that good stuff. Much like last time, I have it all set up by, you know, a stoic campfire, just talking about some quiet ambient music. Talking about life. All that good stuff. I see Irish Ian is here, Steve is here, Steak is here, and Emily is here. How goes it, everyone? I hope you are ready. Into get your minds blown. And you provided some insight. Let me see. Just want to check with Des to see if she is ready, as well as pull up my questions. I have to pull up my question. Let me pull up my questions. Okay, I had to change a few questions that I had here, not because like whatever, but I found out that like they were a little too vague. Plus, I know Destra does voice work, so I wanted to change one a little bit into something like something a bit different. So I want that to reflect that. In the meantime, while we still wait through the desk, how is everyone doing today? Hope everyone's doing good. I'm just the typical old man with my bad knee right now. Yeah, like it's something bad. Like there's a story behind my knee. It's nothing like legitimately like, oh yes, I really am old man. No, I had this weird thing with my knee and a blood clot, and rather than basically let me deal with the constant agony that I was feeling at that point, my doc decided to basically help me remove it, and we did it. Except now I get these weird increments of pain in my knee, specifically the base of my knee, where like around the area, like the base of my knee to my femur, around that area. Unfortunately, there's no cure to it. It's just something I gotta deal with. Like some days it's just like it just feels like, what was it like? You just feel stiff, and like I haven't really been moving. Like you know when you have your elbow extended, your arm extended, and your elbow extended, and then like when you pull it back, it's like that weird stiffness. Sometimes it just feels like that. But what was it? Friday going into Saturday, it was like one of those moments where like I end up gaining like a weird limp. So yeah, there is no cure to that, unfortunately. Like there's no surgery that can be done to like, you know, do anything with that or like whatever. It's just I just deal with it. And it's really funny because everyone's saying like, did you get injured? It's like, technically I did get injured. Technically I did get injured, but it was my own dumbass fault. But yeah, like the important thing is like I'm fine. It's just, you know, a weird side effect. Ow. I banged my knee. Okay, cool. Okay, Desta's ready. I'm going to give it a ring now. Hopefully we can hear her. And let's see if we can hear her.
Hello, hello.
Yay! Okay, I got audio on my end. In the chat here, Destra?
Hopefully so.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
We are indeed waiting.
Wait for it. Anticlimacticness.
We are awaiting the chat to inform us if they can hear me or not.
Okay, there we go. Confirmation. We can hear. Okay.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Everyone, this is DestraPlays from DestraPlays.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Phantom.
Thank you for being here, honestly. I've been wanting to talk to you for so long, and now I have an excuse to do that.
Yeah, indeed. The feeling is mutual.
You're all breathtaking.
And thank you for the host.
Yeah. It's all part of the plan.
All right. And now that we're moving forward with said plan, I need to change the settings up a little bit to make it seem like we're actually professional.
That works for me.
There we go. I have a lovely little campfire for Fireside Chat. Having fun indeed. Okay, so as we all know, March is Women's History Month. International Women's Day was on the 8th. And we greatly celebrate it by doing one of two things. One, bringing attention to bringing attention to this month and bringing attention to that day, as well as showing the women in our lives that we truly support and care for them, as well as, you know, giving them a voice and things like that, which is why I wanted to do something special this month and providing a small little pedestal, as it were, or my little mini soapbox for several important women in my life now, whether friends, family, I see them as family, or just new colleagues. I see Steak gifted a sub. Very nice. I appreciate that, the Steak, and I'm sure Destra appreciates that too. So, so now I ask my first and hard-hitting question to you.
Oh no.
Well, they get harder as they go along, but this is the first one, just to give you like a taste of what's to expect.
Okay.
What does Women's History Month mean to you? Or if not, what does International Women's Day mean to you? And if it didn't mean anything to you before, what does it mean to you now?
Well, honestly, I only recently found out that there was such a thing. I honestly just was not aware of it, despite, you know, being active on the internet. It's just not something that I've really encountered. Like just the idea of it. I'm pretty sure like International Women's Day is something I've heard about, but like Women's History Month is not quite something I recall hearing about until very recently in my life. So
Okay.
so I can't say honestly that it has any like significant long-standing meaning for me, but given what it's meant to represent and, you know, the ideas behind it, I think it's a very good opportunity to simply keep in mind that women did not always have the freedoms that they do now. They were very much not allowed to do a lot of things, or it was seen as, you know, not womanly to do certain types of things. And many women basically have done many, have achieved many freedoms, many steps forward for just, you know, society in general, and to, I would say, even to remove the stigma of, you know, women doing things that are seen more to be more masculine, you know, like changing a tire or doing construction. It's, I think, those aspects of just recognizing women for who they are as individuals, and um, not, you know, seeing women as, you know, second, but you know, as equals within society, is, I think, very, very important and very useful to remember. As you know, many historians do say, or many wise people do often say, it's better to remember the past so we don't make the same mistakes in the future. So I think it would do well for people to remember that women didn't always have the same freedoms and abilities and opportunities that they do today.
Totally true. Totally true. Oh, thank you for that, actually. All right. Let's see if we can sort of segue ourselves into the next one. From your opinion, just from either experiences, colleagues and friends, or even I forget, you're seeing someone. You have a partner, right?
I do, yes.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure of that. Do you see any progress when it comes to equal rights, like between men and women, like as of late, in the past, like within like the last 5 years, or do you still feel like it's remained about the same?
Well, I can't say that I've seen much of a difference, and I would imagine that perhaps that is due to my own ignorance. And I think there's still room to learn new things and be aware of things that have been done, strides that have been made. Um, I can't really pin down anything in specifically that I can recall in the last 5 years, but I think uh, I guess this could be seen as significant since we are currently on Twitch at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think the idea of women who stream to be more for Twitch to give them more resources to help protect themselves from people who are typically in the business of um, degrading them or potentially harassing them. There has been a good deal of harassment on Twitch. I know that one Twitch streamer, what's her name? Um, Sweet Anita. I know that she has been the subject of much harassment because she does suffer from Tourette's, and yet she still manages um, to create a welcoming, friendly community. I haven't personally attended any of her streams, but I have seen an interview with her, so I've heard her talk about her experiences and the struggles that she's faced. So I think it's good that Twitch, that those in significant means of uh, influence in Twitch are able to take a stand for women who are streaming on Twitch, to make sure that they're not being harassed, and if they are being harassed, that action is properly taken on their behalf.
Right.
But
Right.
beyond that, I can't really talk about anything on this on a level of society or anything of that sort.
Okay, that works. Actually, kind of like now that you mentioned Twitch, I actually want to jump ahead in my list of questions. Move on to the one that relates to that now.
Mhm.
As we both know, and I'm sure chat knows, you stream as well. You stream Final Fantasy 14, Street Fighter 5. I'm not sure anything else you stream. Like I've just been seeing those main two games that you've seen playing. I actually enjoy it. Have you ever
Thank you.
have you ever encountered any moments like that of harassment or negativity in your stream, either constantly, like maybe once in a blue moon, or maybe you lucked out and never experienced that? And if so, like how did you go about it? Like, was it handled promptly? Did you like? I know there are certain streamers that kind of like pause everything, talk about it, how they say that how this is not progress and things like that, or anything like that.
Well, I honestly can say that I've actually lucked out. Um, I've I'm not a very big time streamer, and I also imagine that um, those individuals who feel inclined to harass people probably don't really want to, I guess, poke the beehive of Black trans women. So it's not something that I've experienced directly. So I suppose I've been fortunate in that regard. But of course, I do remain aware of the fact that multiple women on Twitch have been um, frequently, harassed and disruptive when it comes to people, deliberately doing such things on their streams. But me specifically, I honestly have kind of been fortunate enough to not have experienced that yet. But I mean, maybe I'm, maybe that'll happen to me on tonight's stream. I don't know.
Done
But
jinxed it now.
I mean, unless you count those bots of saying like, "Hey, you want to be famous?"
Oh no.
Beyond that, I haven't really experienced much of that. So yeah.
Oh man, I get this all the time too. What's even worse is you try stopping them by I took some advice. I forget who mentioned. I took some advice by someone saying like you can ban certain words and spelling of the words. So I have it set to ban the word wanna,
Famous.
like not like wanna basically, because you know no one says wanna nowadays.
It's true. It's true.
So I have it like ban the word wanna and like different like spellings, like all special characters of the word wanna, but they still somehow get in, and it's beyond annoying.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Oh man,
such is the life of being on Twitch.
that's true. That's totally true. Still stemming off of the whole Twitch thing, being black trans streamer, do you ever feel that you're kind of like in a weird silent majority? Not like with that specific nuance, but sort of. Do you ever just feel like you don't get enough recognition when it comes to black trans streaming, or do you just think that like that's not something that you see as important as you're streaming? You're just seen as a streamer.
Well, I think I can perhaps break this up into two answers.
By all
With
means.
regards, yeah, with regards to um, getting noticed or getting recognition, I would say that um, I honestly do firmly believe in that we live in that I guess Twitch in general is it's very very saturated right now. It's been saturated for a very long time, despite the overall community being relatively small in comparison to the behemoth that is YouTube.
Yeah.
So, but the really strange thing is the ability for people to get discovered on YouTube, despite YouTube being a massive behemoth. Yet on Twitch, it's very, very difficult to get noticed on Twitch. And I'm always surprised when when someone comes into my stream that I haven't seen before, and I of course ask them, as I always do, "Hi, you're new here. How did you find me?" And when they tell me that they were just kind of randomly looking around on Twitch, just browsing, I'm always very surprised that they would choose my stream out of the many other people. So I wouldn't say that I feel that I deserve any sort of recognition. I personally, despite my own personal ego, and obviously being a succubus and all that, I obviously have I think quite highly of myself. But even still, I do believe that people will get recognized for the work that they put into it and the time that they um, put into streaming. And it's very very difficult, and to have expectations of grandeur is kind of short-sighted, and not something that I would tell anyone to expect when they start to stream, because you're basically doing it because you love it, not because you want to get famous.
Right.
So you got to be doing it for the right reason. So I don't, yeah, just long story short, I don't feel that I deserve any sort of notoriety. And if that is to come my way, then so be it. That would be nice. I in regards to me being my identity when it comes to streaming, I don't hide the fact that I'm transgender. I don't hide it. It's actually in my bio on Twitch, so I make that very clear. It's not something I'm trying to keep a secret. But as I explained on another individual stream, Damikosa, he had me on his stream to talk about, specifically trans issues. I said that I think of myself as more of a there's like two types of trans people.
Okay.
You have the trans people who are just they're out and proud, and they're very much maybe they look like maybe they don't completely pass. Not that that's irrelevant, and not that that should be relevant, but they may look one way or another, or they may dress a certain way, and it may be very physically apparent that they're transgender. And then you have other people who are stealth, and those people generally are, we're I want to make it clear that there aren't like there aren't a ton of trans people. There aren't.
Right.
It's not a massive community. It's not a massive group of people who are demanding to be seen, quote unquote. It's a very small segment of people that exist in various societies across the world. But you have a group of people who are, stealth, who generally don't want anything to do with anything or anyone. They simply live their lives. They have taken the precautions or what would be deemed as precautions to make sure that they are safe, that they are able to just live their lives, that they're able to live as women or men or whatever,
Right.
however they choose. And they generally have, maybe they've had surgery, maybe not, but for the most part, no one can tell the difference. They're completely indistinguishable from the kind of gender identity that they choose to purport to society. So you have those two groups, and then you have me, which maybe I'm sure there's more like me, but you have those who are somewhere in between. Those people who are not shy about they're not talking about it. They're not like, I'm transgender and you should use my pronouns. I'm not that type of person. I used to be very early on, but I don't really talk about it. But I'm also not trying to hide it either. So I can achieve the stealth aspect of things, but I also am pretty open about it. Literally anyone can talk to me, because I think it's important for people to understand that there are various different narratives that go into being transgender, and with that same idea in mind, I want to make sure that people are not they don't feel like they're turned away from the idea of having that conversation, or that because they feel like they will offend me, that they don't want to have the conversation, because that is that's the most difficult issue. I think one of the most difficult issues that the trans, quote unquote, the trans community faces is this idea that you can't talk about it, or if you talk about it, you have to do it in a certain way that doesn't offend the person.
Right.
And this idea of offending people, or this, I feel that the focus needs to be turned more towards education, because there are just a lot of people who don't get it. There are a lot of people who don't understand, and there are a lot of people who just honestly need to be educated on what your individual experience is, and what other popular narratives are for trans people, and that the fact is we're all different. I would say it's relatively rare that the narratives for people who are trans kind of align. I would say that they wouldn't always align, but there may be some similarities between different narratives. But I would say, largely speaking, every narrative is different, and I would say the difference, the span of differences between them are probably as far as the differences between just your general guy or your general girl. We're all different, we're all human. That's what makes us unique. We all have different lifestyles and we live differently, so it's very much kind of that distinction should be made. But I say all of that to get back to what I wanted to actually say about my identity as a streamer. I don't particularly care because I made a decision to not make that the reason why people watch me. And though, again, I do the whole succubus thing, I do the whole sultry voice thing, I do work that in a lot. But at the same time, I want people to enjoy my streams because they enjoy the stream, not because I'm transgender, not because I'm black, not because I have, you know, Native American tones. Like, I don't want my identity to be the reason why people watch me. I want people to watch me because they enjoy what I do. They enjoy what I play. Maybe they do find me attractive. That's wonderful. Fine, it happens. But at the same respect, I'm not making my identity the forefront, and I'm not using that as like a kind of like a an extra nudge to kind of get people to watch me. I don't want my identity to be the reason why people pay attention to me, is what I'm trying to say. At the end of the day, people are going to see me as a woman, and that's great. That's what I intend. That's the intention. And, you know, I just want people to like me because I'm a good streamer and that I'm entertaining. And once they find out that I'm trans, they can make their own decision at that point. Because they probably didn't read my about section, because who reads anymore?
That's true.
So yeah, that's really like my whole thing.
Wow, that was beautiful. I'm not gonna lie. That was really, really insightful. See, this is why I really wanted to talk to you about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I knew there would be so much insightfulness just by hearing you speak about this, and I do not regret this choice at all.
No regrets yet?
No regrets.
Great. I'm doing okay. Hopefully I can get through this without you having any regrets.
No. There never regrets. Believe me. Like, there's less judgment to be had with me than anyone else. I'm the one weird minority that reads and listens half the time, so I definitely want to get every single thought you have out there without any issue.
For sure. Yeah, I'm very glad to be having this conversation.
Okay. Before I continue, I want to make sure, because I finally hear it now myself. The music isn't too loud, right, Chad? I wanted to add like something a bit more somber this time. So I just want to make sure that the music isn't drowning out like the conversation. If you can hear it, that's great. But if not, then, well, the music's doing its job. You actually might get a kick out of this, Destra. It's actually the what's it called? I had it saved real quick. Since we both play 14 online, I actually ended up getting a copy of Tears in the Rain.
Oh.
It's like, because I was like, I thought back of that. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but that one part where a certain Asian starts talking about light and dark on the cave paintings, and this music plays, and I'm just like, this actually seems like a moment that this music would fit in here too.
Very nice, very nice. You definitely know that I'm a fan of 14, so any shoutouts to Sokin's genius is very much welcomed.
Perfect. Okay, so next question.
Oh, they're also saying the music's kind of quiet though.
That's the point. All right, let me see if I can like turn up a tad, but I don't want it to overpower. There we go. It's a tad up now. All right, here we go. Next question. Here we go. How hard did you cry at that one? I'm kidding. No, I had to sneak that in somewhere, but no.
Cry?
It's like, how hard did you cry at that one scene in Heaven's Word? Tell me, be honest. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Perfect. So the word feminist has basically been thrown out all throughout the past, what, like 5 years, a decade now. And each time it's been thrown out, people kind of assume a different meaning for it. So my question to you is, A, do you see yourself as a feminist? And B, what does feminism mean to you?
Well, I wouldn't say that I see myself as a feminist. I don't particularly see myself as a feminist, but I am certainly not I'm not opposed to ensuring that women are getting the recognition that they deserve. You know, as someone who lives as a woman, I certainly am very much for ensuring that, you know, I'm being seen as myself, and I'm being seen as someone who is contributing to society or contributing to whatever I'm putting my foot forward to. And in the same regard, I want to make sure that women are being able, and like women are able to achieve what it is that they want to achieve and meet the goals that they want to achieve. And I, as a trans person, I want to make sure that I'm not really getting in the way of that. So, you know, I can't. Well, it's not that I can't. It's just I don't currently consider myself a feminist, but I'm very much for ensuring that women are able to do the things that they are want to do, that they are. I guess that I can't say that. Like things that they are want to do. That they tend to do, to use some old English there.
Right.
And for me to not get in the way of that. So I guess with that said, um, I honestly find myself in a situation where I find it an absolute privilege to even be a part of the conversation. Um, I joked with you when you asked me to be on to have this talk with me. I joked with you saying like, I don't even know why you want me on. Are there like a ton of other people that you could ask besides a trans woman? So like I make that joke because I honestly do see it as a privilege. No one is obligated to see me as a woman, absolutely no one. And yet I'm fortunate in that I've taken great pains to ensure that I can connect with women and even girls in some cases in a way that that makes sense, that seems real, that is honestly like authentic and on as many levels as possible. Because all things considered, I've only technically been living as a woman for about 8 years now. So at the same time, I certainly don't believe it's good for my my situation, my what is honestly a mental disorder, to get in the way of what women and girls are meant to achieve. And I generally want to be as I want to be uh, as insightful and open to learning and understanding what it is that the lives that they lead, the struggles that they go through. Because obviously no one wants to be trans, no one should want to be trans. It's If you want to be trans, I think you're missing something, in my opinion. I didn't ask for this, I didn't want this, but it's something that I absolutely needed to do. And with that in mind, I think it's important for me to not just think that I should be included in every aspect of every little thing that happens that is related to women.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's nice, and again, it's a privilege to be included in the circles, in women's circles, whatever circle, whatever activity, whatever opportunity that may be, and to be seen as a woman by other women. But I don't take that for granted. I don't see it as something that they are obliged, that they should be obliged to do. And I am always surprised and honestly, like no matter how long I've been living this way, I'm always very humbled when I can take that step forward and say, hey, I would like to take part in this thing. And like obviously the way things are now in 2021 and 2020, obviously I shouldn't have to kind of like tiptoe my way in, like dip my foot in the water, like, hey ladies, I'd like to be a part of your little thing. Because like just by nature of my identity and essentially being what I could, like I've said this before, like I basically being a unicorn in a lot of ways, in terms of when it comes to identity politics. I'm pretty much a unicorn. I'm Black, I'm transgender, I live as a woman, I have Native American genes. Like I'm pretty heavily a unicorn. So with that in mind, they literally would have no reason to say no to me. because it would basically be out of fear that they don't want to say no out of fear. So they would be like, yeah, sure, of course you're welcomed here. But I don't want that either. I don't want to
Right.
be accepted out of fear either.
Right.
But unfortunately, that's the culture that we're cultivating. It seems, by my estimation, it seems that we're trying to scare people into being accepting of trans people. And I don't think that that's the way. I'm firmly of the belief that education and understanding and being open-minded is the way. And frankly, the whole like quote unquote fight that the trans community may be like kind of going through. Obviously, there are things that can be improved on, but I generally want women, I want biological females to be able to do the things that they can do and that they want to do. And I absolutely positively am for them being able to do the things that they should do, and they want to do, and to achieve what they want to do. And for me to achieve many things, maybe not all things, but many things, excuse me, by their side. So I'm very much an advocate for women achieving greatness, just like I'm an advocate for anyone achieving greatness. And just not I don't want my transness to be the reason, to be the reason why I should just instantly be accepted because I say that I'm a woman.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just it's a privilege to even be recognized by other women and to be accepted by them, and I never take that for granted.
Another insightful. I love this so much. I'm loving this so much.
I'm glad.
Oh man, always insightful answers. It's so great. Okay, here we go. Let's see. What would be a next follow-up, better follow-up question than that one? That one's just too weak. Okay, here we go. Have you ever had, like, whether it be a parent, a relative, and things like that, like a role model that you've had either in the past or even now that you still look up to, or any lessons that you took away from them?
I suppose, I'm pretty sure everyone would just say, "Oh, it's my mom." That would be like the very simple answer, and I unfortunately have to go with that. Um, I wouldn't say that she's been a role model, quite honestly, but the fact of the matter is, she took care of me, and she honestly believed that I could do the things I said I wanted to do. And she believed in me enough to legally kick me out of her house to go and strike out on my own in my mid-20s. So yeah, she literally legally kicked me out of her house, and obviously this is no shade to my mom, but she did it because she was under the impression that she was holding me back.
Okay.
So I know that she did it. I know that she did it out of love, and I also am aware that she had a child when she was very young, like still in her late teens. She had my sister.
Okay.
In her late teens. So I kept like I frequently told her, and like, you lived in a different time, that was a different era, like things are so much different now, like, and you're kicking me out. That was my my response, but at the same time, I could, like, she explained that she believed in me, and she went through a lot. She slept on couches, she worked multiple jobs. She still has been working like 2 jobs. She's been working 2 jobs for like almost like 2 decades at this point.
Wow.
So she's been like, she's worked super hard, and and she basically went from going through a divorce and striking out on her own and getting a place, like an apartment, and then moving into someone else's place for a little while, and then going from there to eventually getting enough credit to ultimately buy her own house, to get a mortgage. Like, she went from sleeping on people's couches, having a kid in her late teens, to ultimately, eventually, over many, many, many decades, well, I guess many years and multiple decades, to basically finally achieve the accomplishment of having her own house after all that time. So I admire her for her perseverance. She was never very, affectionate with me,
Okay.
but that also stems from her own upbringing. So I can't I don't like put her down for that. It's very much a that's just how people grow up. So that in turn got put on me, and at the same time, I really do admire her for her resilience and perseverance. And she thought that she recognized that in me, and she legally kicked me out, and I proceeded to suffer for 3.5 years. So like she did what she thought was best, and she did her best to raise me, and she sacrificed a lot to make sure that I was happy. She put herself in massive amounts of debt to ensure that I could be happy. Me, my brother, my sister, to some degree also. Yeah, she made a lot of sacrifices just to make us happy. So I would say that would be the easy answer. My mom. I do technically have I have more male, I guess biologically male role models, but I don't think that's I don't think that really means anything. It's just the kinds of people that I've been around for a long period of time.
Right.
So but yeah, my mom is the answer. I again, sorry for the very long answers.
No, please, by all means. I would just love to, like I said, like, I love when we can just get your thoughts out, no matter what it, like, if it feels like rambling, things like that, or things like, if it feels like venting. I just want you to have your moment where you could just speak uninterrupted, and all I'm here to do is listen and just provide, like I said, like a little mini soapbox for you to just get out every idea you have.
Cool. Well, that's I really do appreciate that.
Cool.
Hopefully people watching do appreciate that also.
I'm sure they do. I know, like, I know Steve and Steak have been looking forward to this for what, since it was announced. So, like, I'm not sure anyone else is like learning about just listening in, like, but like, there's just been so much support for just doing this, just having a moment to just sit and talk and listen, and it's very commendable.
Great. I'm very glad to hear it.
Okay, let's see. I have no idea why I wrote all these thoughts out. That is pretty much all the same question. Or if not, you've already answered most of them, like, just by all your other answers. So I have to make sure I pick my questions wisely now.
Right.
Okay. Oh, here we go. This was a big question that I wanted to ask as well, just to get your insight. As I'm sure you know, stereotypes exist. It could be ranging from anything from the one I recently learned from my friend Shared, where it's just like, what, men hate asking for directions and women can't read a map. I've never heard that, to be honest with you. I've always thought it was just like adults hate asking for questions, like asking for like directions or whatever. I was like, all right, that's cool. But what stereotypes do you think, I shouldn't say hurt, but are, I guess, painfully accurate, that you've noticed when it comes to either like your experience, maybe like dealing with things around your age, or like I said, like being seen as a woman and things like that? Or what do you think is a stereotype that's kind of like overplayed, overdone, kind of like, come on guys, grow up, move on, it's like 2021?
Honestly, like, to be quite honest, I don't really engage with that sort of thing because I would say that the stereotypes of the modern age are very much steeped in society. Well, I mean, not society, but pop culture more specifically.
Right.
So I don't particularly engage very much with pop culture. I haven't for quite some time. And so it's very much a if there are any particular like tired stereotypes, I'm not like explicitly aware of them. But um I mean, it's true that guys don't ask for direction.
Yeah, I know.
It's very true. But yeah, like for me personally, like I don't know. I don't know. Um like anything that I can think of are stereotypes that are very old.
Go for it.
But I think I guess one could be is that like I don't know. I could say like, black women are loud. Like that is definitely one that I've heard. Like I certainly can tell that, black women are generally passionate, but I think anyone can be passionate, but I certainly have observed because obviously I've spent a good portion of my life surrounded by, those of the African American persuasion. Um, of there are like I don't think it's inaccurate per se, but I do think that it's I don't think anyone's ever going to say that again, given the climate of our current society. I don't think anyone's really going to like use that as a joke because being funny is a cardinal sin now. Being politically incorrect is a cardinal sin now. So it's very much a shame, but that's really the only thing that came to mind. And I mean, it's not incorrect, but of course there are some there's exceptions to everything. There's exceptions to most pop culture societal rules when it comes to categorizing humans in a certain way. There's always going to be that exception. I don't particularly consider myself to be emotionally unhinged, but generally speaking, a lot of people in urban and mostly urban areas, from what I've observed, are quite at times emotionally unhinged. So yeah, that's really all. But obviously I can that's really all I can really observe at this point.
Gotcha. Oh man, yeah, like there was like a few that I remember that were brought up. An example like was like one that I think is very tiring is like who wears the pants in the relationship.
Oh yeah, I guess yeah. I like that one.
Like that one's always like I get it. Like there's always one half of the couple that kind of becomes like the leader of saying like we're doing this, like whatever. Like I get that to an extent. Like saying like for an example, be like talking about like what has to get done, and then someone like takes initiative and says we have these three chores have to get done, so what are we gonna do about it? That to an extent I understand. Not like whoever wears the pants pretty much has all the say in the relationship. That I think is very tiring and kind of inaccurate.
Yeah, I do recall that one, and I certainly it's certainly a funny one. I do think
totally it is.
Yeah, I do think it's also I do agree it is outdated to a degree. I like in my personal relationship, the really interesting thing about being in a relationship, I think, is the sharing of responsibilities, the constant. Well, I mean, I guess it's unique for me. Well, I'll talk about what's unique for me and what I think is like, I guess society, like generally relevant when it comes to, the ordinary relationship.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So for me personally, it's very interesting because my partner and I do we do often swap roles. And what I mean by that is we swap kind of like what would be seen as predominantly the masculine thing to do or predominantly the feminine thing to do. And there's no real distinction between that. We kind of just fluidly change what we do or how we talk to each other. Sometimes, she'll be more like intense and like that will come off to be like what is seen as more masculine, but it's not really like even like with the way people talk, the way people dress, there are technically masculine and feminine ways of presenting, but at the same time, you can wear whatever you want for the most part. Obviously there are some like, extremes, depending on the situation, but like just to kind of, keep this in line and on target, I like the way we talk to each other can often swap between what is seen as predominantly a masculine way of speaking to someone, and sometimes she may be more aggressive and not aggressive but very like rough about expressing her thoughts, depending on the situation, or I may be very very dominant and specifically on how I express myself, and sometimes I may be very cuddly and sweet and want to be very um like I want to be like I express more feminine traits, I guess you can say. So
Okay.
it's very much kind of like a fluid thing that continues to just flow on its own. I think that's the most interesting thing that I've observed, behavioral wise in my relationship. But like for society as a whole, the idea of like who wears the pants doesn't really matter. You decide. Obviously, when you're in a relationship, you have to decide who is going to have which responsibilities. When you decide to pair yourself up with someone, it is important to create that, like, to not shy away from having the conversations of like, well, if we're going to live together, then we need to distribute the responsibilities that are in this house in a way that makes sense, in a way that we can, equally not feel as though one is doing more than the other, but that we mutually feel that we both benefit from one person doing one thing and another person doing another thing, so that we mutually benefit, and meeting and like seeking that mutual beneficiary kind of relationship is, I think, something that is often missed when it comes to being in a relationship with people. But that is going that's going way off topic from stereotypes and things like that. But yeah, who wears the pants, not really relevant in terms of who does what. It just what matters most is the mutual agreement between the two people involved, and I think that's the most important thing.
Okay. Right on. Okay, let's see.
Do you agree? Do you disagree?
I do, but it's been so long since I've been in a relationship. I gotta just do everything by myself now.
I mean, like I feel you on that. Like I went a very long time without being in a relationship. So I definitely understand.
Yeah,
Definitely understand.
I will say, like, it does feel weird, like, once you're with someone, to get like into a weird groove that like, okay, there's shared responsibilities now. I have to do everything by myself.
Yeah, it's very liberating when you have someone who listens to you and is willing to, help you to achieve your goals or even support you in your goals. I think that's super valuable to have. And yeah, I know what it's like to go many, many years without being in a relationship. And yeah, I definitely feel that. But, when the time is right, Phantom.
Exactly. When, though? When is that time?
All you can do is focus on what makes you you, and improving yourself and making yourself seem or appear as desirable as possible. Ideally speaking, I would say it's important to really, focus on you, make sure that you're doing what you need to do and that you're achieving the goals that you want to achieve. And I think that when someone comes along, they'll take an interest. They'll be by your side very often. You may not see it immediately, and they may not realize it immediately either. But it's very much a thing that I think should happen kind of organically. To a degree, I've always been more of a traditionalist when it comes to being in a relationship with people. I don't really kind of go out looking for it because I think the effort it takes to go out and looking for a mate is counterproductive to achieving your life and living your life. And at the end of the day, the person's going to love you or like you for you. And if you don't have yourself together, you don't have your shit together, then it's going to make it that much more difficult for you to offer anything of real value to whomever who may come across you. So I think it's important to work on yourself and then, let the cards fall where they may.
Also very insightful. And that goes for everyone listening in chat too that's going through the same thing.
Yeah, it's for everyone.
Work on yourselves. Also, I didn't mean to ignore you, Pikachu Master. Our day is going pretty well. At least my day is going pretty well. How's your day, Destra?
My day has been going pretty well. It's been pretty hectic, quite honestly, but that's completely my fault. I only gave myself 3 hours to get ready, and I was literally just... I needed 2 minutes because I literally had just gotten around to eating. Ooh. So, yeah. I just kind of scarfed everything real quick.
Well, I'm glad you're eating at least.
That's important.
That is very important. I have to keep reminding. I find this as a joke at the time where I have to, I'll get a random a random DM from Michelle asking just checking in on how I'm doing, or she needs a question stream wise, and then I ask her how's your day? I was I haven't eaten. It's well, why aren't you eating?
Yes.
It's I feel like your dad at this point. Eat something.
Yes. Some people can get so wrapped up in their work that they do forget to eat. But somehow I've never gotten too caught up with my work to forget to eat. But yeah.
I mean, I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that too. There are days where I'll accidentally I don't purposely do it. I'll accidentally skip lunch just because I'm in the zone and I need to get things done.
I definitely get that.
Yeah, it's not the healthiest option, but at least I'm eating. But speaking of work, it's a great segue to my next question now.
Great.
I'm only familiar with the work you do in voiceover, especially I'm completely blanking on what, but I remember you posted a new role you were participating in, I believe, via Twitter.
Yeah, I am. Well, I mean, I've been on the team. I've been a part of the cast of a game called The Office Type. I've been part of that cast for quite some time. It's actually just been a game that's been a long time in development for, I would say, maybe about 2 years at this point, maybe. So it's not really a new role. It's just kind of a role that I auditioned for. I want to say maybe it's been 3 years by now.
Okay.
But I auditioned for the role. I can't remember if I found it or someone tagged me or I can't remember, but I auditioned for the role, and they were looking for specifically a Black trans woman to play the role, since the character is Black and trans. So I've had the role for quite some time. I unfortunately don't quite remember her name. It's been a long time.
It's been a while. No worries.
But yeah, that's a project that I recently have. Well, I guess recently kind of re-emerged because they're doing marketing for it. They're trying to kind of drum up attention for it again. So that's the only reason why it was kind of brought back up to the surface. But it's been going on for about I would say 3 years at this point.
Cool. But going off of that, do you ever find I'm only familiar with your voice work. Do you ever find it kind of difficult, just in the position you're in, either just trans women or things like that, find it difficult to achieve certain roles, or even attain certain roles, or do you feel like you have more of a one-up because of that?
I personally believe that the person who performs the best will get the role. Full stop. And I've always been of that mind. And obviously, there may be some aspects of that that aren't completely defined. Things that go on behind the scenes that that at their at their worst are pure conjecture. Sorry, and at their best are pure conjecture, and at their worst, they're actually like there may be some underlying truth to potentially not getting a role because of because the casting director knows one of the people who auditioned for it. So there may be some of that stuff going on, but at the end of the day, we don't know. At the end of the day, it's not clear, and all you can do is speculate, or all anyone can really do is speculate when you're on the outside. So I will continue to be of the mind that those who have the voice necessary, who have the talent necessary to bring to the table, will get cast in a certain role. I personally have not found it difficult to get certain roles. I do know that I do have a limitation with my range. However, I've also worked very, very hard to establish a variety of ranges within my vocal capacity, which can be heard in my demos on my website. So I've worked really hard to establish. Excuse me. I hope you guys didn't hear that. That was not great. But I've worked very hard to ensure that I can bring my best self to the table, and I can bring my acting training to the table, and basically audition the best way that I can. If I get it, I get it. I don't. If I don't, I don't. Because I'm firmly of the mindset that acting is very competitive. Voice acting is even more competitive because everyone thinks they can do it. And at the same regard, I think it's very much important to keep in mind and not get discouraged when you don't get a role, and not be so quick to say, "Oh well, it's because I'm trans." Like I don't like immediately creating the victim narrative for not getting what you want is, I think, a cop out, and I think it encourages laziness and doesn't encourage people to really give their best to improve. Because if you think that you're a victim, you'll just always think that there's no reason to improve. So I'm of the mind that you should continue to improve and continue to put yourself in the best light possible, to connect with as many people as possible, to do as many roles as you can get as possible. And yeah, and I do think, I guess on another note, I do think that I do have some I guess some advantage, and that was the plan. The plan was to, and I said this in my coming out video. I said that I wanted to become so good that no one could ignore me. So regardless of me being transgender, I wanted to make it so that I would work and be skilled enough so that I could do both male and female parts, so I could have that much of an advantage there, and continue to maintain what I was doing for male roles and audition for male roles, while also auditioning for female roles and building that up, which I namely achieved largely through doing audiobook work, which, not to shill myself, but if you ever wanted to hear any audiobooks narrated only by me, with distinct voices and characters and character motivations, I do have. They're not my books, but I've narrated 6 audiobooks that are literally, as far as I know, are still accessible on Audible.com.
Ooh.
And yeah, I've narrated 6 audiobooks, just me, with some of these books having like 20 plus characters. So that was a good way of that was a good that was a great opportunity that I had to really stretch myself and to improve my skill set over time, and that has allowed me opportunities to play multiple roles and to become just more I guess believable as an actress. So
Impressive. I should probably check that out. That would mean having to rescript to Audible, though. Oh, that's something I didn't know. Impressive. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm learning more things today.
Indeed. And hello, Krista. Hi. Great to see you. Thank you for stopping in.
Ah, yes, thank you. There we go. Sorry, I'm not ignoring chat. I'm just so enthralled with Destra's words right now. I'm so enthralled right now. It's fantastic. You have no idea. Like, I'm beaming with like the smile on my face. My cheeks are actually starting to hurt.
I'm doing the job.
Exactly. Like, I'm not ignoring chat. It's like, you know, I'm just listening in, smiling, and just enjoying the company right now.
So for the record, in case all of you didn't know, even ghosts can be under the sway of a succubus. Just
there was no doubt. There was no doubt. Okay, here we go. Obligatory. Have to ask this question because I asked it before. What did you think about Kamala Harris becoming the first female vice president in the United States?
I had no particular feelings on it.
No one really does.
I didn't really. I knew that it was a major event. I knew that it had never happened before. Just like, you know, Obama was the first, you know, Black president.
Right.
I knew that it was special with regards to that being the case, but I feel like it should have ended there. But instead, what was done was that the new, like, because, you know, this idea of intersectionality and identity politics, they're like, well, she was the first Asian American Black woman vice president, like, and it's just like, are you done? Like, are I generally don't see the point in, like, the idea of merit being given to someone solely because of immutable characteristics is not my ideal of a sustainable society. And this idea that this concept that is being pushed largely through the media, largely through public policy, is becoming something of a very worrisome predicament. Though people may see it as progress, I'm not particularly seeing it as progress. I don't want a doctor who was made a doctor because they're Black. I don't want a doctor. I don't want a person to fix my sink because they're Asian. I don't, like, that's not the kind of society that I want to live in, because if they're not actually suited for the role, then they should do the work to assure themselves that, you know, that particular responsibility. They should earn that responsibility. And I don't think it's a big deal that Kamala Harris is the first Black Asian American vice president. I think it's meaningful that she is the first woman president. I do think that's meaningful, for sure. That's very historic, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think in a way that is, you know, that can be encouraging for a lot of people, for sure. And, you know, but, you know, at the end of the day, Kamala Harris straight up said that, you know, Joe Biden is like I know she said that Joe Biden was, like, I think a racist or something to that effect, or like some sort of, like, you know, she basically slandered him in a debate.
Right.
I forget exactly what the slander was because it's just like, well, all right, great. But I know she definitely did do that. And then Joe Biden's like, I'm going to make you my vice president.
Yeah.
And I can't help but feel that that was heavily motivated by this idea of Biden surrounding himself with this intersectional circus. That's not to say that some of these people are not qualified to be in the positions that they're in. That's not to say that Kamala Harris isn't qualified to be a vice president. I just think that it wouldn't make sense for someone that was straight up like someone who basically insulted him, and someone like Kamala Harris, who also was not very much an advocate for, she very much had no problem convicting many Black people for various things that they may or may not have done. I honestly just think that no one is perfect. All politicians are flawed. All humans are flawed, and all I can really hope is that, great, she is the first woman vice president, and all I can hope is that that eventually immutable characteristics won't be the bar to reach for getting into places of office. I don't want that to become the standard, and I certainly hope that Kamala Harris does a good job.
I think we all do. I think that's like the main thing. It's just pretty much doesn't matter who's in the chair. It's just you got to do a good job in that chair.
Just do your job.
Yep.
And do it well, please. That's all we ask of you as politicians. Just please do your job, and with minimal with minimal deception and lies, please.
Right.
That'd be great.
Right on then. Okay. Coming down to the wire with the last few questions now, so let me just get these brought up here. Going off of the whole topic of like feminism and things like that, when it comes to equality, where do you think we stand with equality between men and women? It doesn't have to be just, society-wise with like respect and things like that. It could also deal with more physical characteristics as well as job market, if we really want to go that far as well. Like, where do you think we stand with equality at this point?
I think that many strides have been made in order for women to be CEOs, for women to lead teams, for women to be seen as valuable assets to making a company great and improving society. So I honestly don't think that there's any real question that that we've reached a good point of allowing women to do what they want to do and to be who they want to be and to go after the things that they want to go after. This may be short-sighted for whatever reason. I'm happy to hear more, but I don't particularly feel that I myself am held back from anything that I want to do because I'm a woman. I feel as though I can basically go after anything that I personally want and excel in that area however I want, and maybe even have some advantages to doing said thing, whatever it may be, because I'm a woman. This pursuit, this obsession with the idea of equality, I don't think that it's a negative thing. I don't think that it is something that should be, I guess, put on the shelf. To be fair, and sensitive to those who may be still experiencing some form of of discrimination. But we have a large number. Well, I would say a large number. We have policies in place. We have actual bills in place that, well, laws even, that protect women, that allow women to do the things that they want to do, to be able to get leave from work whenever they are in the process of being pregnant and, you know, preparing to give birth. Like, there are many opportunities that are given to women, and many ways that women are acknowledged and protected to ensure that, you know, a level of, you know, that the needs of women are being met, because women, like, females are different from males. So acknowledging the differences between males and females is, I think, necessary and important. That is done. I think because of the many women from the past who have stood up and really made a point to, you know, advocate for the opportunities that women specifically, and the needs women specifically endure and need to have, you know, be acknowledged and respected. I think that a lot of forward motion has been achieved in that regard, and I think that's great. I think that's wonderful. But though I did say that the focus on equality isn't a negative thing, I do think that this idea that like there will always be inequalities. There will always be inequalities present because males and females are different. And I think it's important to not forget that,
The line for
because
autographs
that is
starts
going
here.
to innately, simply by virtue, cause inequalities. And the inequalities in and of themselves are what make us different. They're what allow us to do the things that we are meant to do and to have interests in various ways. I would say it's a pretty standard idea, a pretty standard belief in science that males are typically more drawn to things in the majority of cases, and women are more drawn to people. So, or females are more drawn to people, I should say. I don't want to go by gender terminologies. I want to go by, you know, sex.
Right, gotcha.
Males are more geared towards things, and females are more geared towards people, simply by the nature of the inherent differences that make them unique in their ways. And I do think that it's important to not become so driven by the idea of equality, because I do think that could blind people from the absolute immutable truth of those differences that exist. Women, for the large part of things, are able to pursue what it is they want to pursue, and I think that's wonderful. Men can pursue the things that they want to do, and that's wonderful. But I do think that those points of inequality are where a society can continue to flourish. And I think that having those differences are in part necessary, so that within those inequalities, we're able to help each other achieve what we need to achieve. But I think we've made such great forward motion on women being able to do what they need to do and have the protections that they need to have specific, you know, laws in place that protect them and allow them to do what they want to do, or that they need to do. Like I used the example earlier of being able to take leave from work when they're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Specific laws that are placed that help women to feel more valued and feel more, you know, equal, if we want to use that term. I think we've already done a lot. A lot has already been done, and I don't know how relevant the idea of quote unquote equality is relevant when it comes to, you know, work conditions. I know the wage gap is still something that's being discussed. But again, I mentioned earlier, women can be CEOs. Women can start their own businesses. Women can pursue many things that men typically do. However, like I said earlier, males are more driven towards things, which, the pursuit of, being CEO, having a nice car, blah, blah, blah. And females are more drawn to people. So in some cases, I would say being a social worker and wanting to help a community and help people out may inherently affect, like, obviously it would be a lower wage than a male who is, very much driven to, be like CFO of some company. So inherently those things exist, and I'm not quite certain if the wage gap is a good argument for inequality. Again, I think it's something that's still being discussed. I'm very much open to any particular arguments on that. But yeah, it's not a bad thing to focus on, but I wouldn't say that it's important to have that be the basis of every argument that shows a semblance of inequality, because I do think inequalities are a feature of the difference between males and females.
Okay, I can respect that. I can actually agree with some points on that one too, especially when it comes to starting businesses and things like that. Like, even from like my own example, from what I've witnessed, my parents each own their own business. Mm-hmm. But because of the field that they went into, my dad makes more than my mom, only because like there's, I guess, just more to work with. My dad works in landscaping and things like that. Mm-hmm. And my mother worked in like a house cleaning thing. So like for a while, like they pretty much averaged out like I want to say like maybe like a 60-40 split on half the things when it came to just like money income. But like as time went on, like it became to know it's like, my dad was able to branch out more and things like that, while my mother was not so much more close knit, but it was kind of like, a limit to how far you could get, because it was a time where everyone was doing house cleaning businesses and things like that. Like now my dad's feeling it because like now everyone's doing landscaping things, but he's kind of grandfathered in, so he doesn't feel it as much. But like there are limits to just what is being pursued, and I can say that with like from experience. Like I've witnessed it, so that's why I can agree with it.
Yeah, it's I think it's important to just look at the different occupations that women are typically gravitate to. And I think if you look at that and you look at it from an economic standpoint, as long as a person enjoys what they're doing, doesn't matter like who they are or how they identify, as long as they enjoy what they're doing, I'm not quite certain if it's like, I don't think that they are inherently going to be making less simply because of their sex. Or their gender identity. I personally don't believe that that's going to be the outcome, but it's important to look at, like you said, the occupations and how saturated said occupation is, and obviously supply versus demand. These aspects are very important. You can't just simply look at a problem from one simple focal point, which is a very common thing that many people tend to do. Everyone has their own soapbox called Twitter, their own megaphone. I think a lot of people think that they think they're advocating for something. Advocating for some great inequality, when I think many may be failing to look at the distinct differences, and maybe there's still maybe something there. There may still be something that needs to be looked at on a deeper level. And I think the discussions should continue to be had, but I think it really is important to look at various factors, not simply the fact that women make less than men. I don't think it's that simple.
Okay.
So I'm agreeing with you. Is what I'm saying.
No, like yeah. Like I was like, I know we were like we're agreeing with each other. Like we reached like that weird middle ground where we both agree.
Yes.
It's very rare. It's like it's very rare for me to achieve that nowadays. You have no idea.
Oh no, I think I do. I think I do.
But before I continue, like I wanted to, Norisia, hi! Thank you for joining us and thank you for subbing. I appreciate that. And I
Yes,
see that
also, hello, Norisia. Sorry.
I see
cut you off,
she
Anthony.
also agrees. Like, I think we were starting a little too early for for her, unfortunately. She's on she's all the way on the West Coast, so we were
West
starting at like
Coast.
11 a.m. for her. So, but like I said, you can catch the VOD. It's gonna be there forever, and I'll be uploading this and the other chat to my YouTube channel without any edits. So that's one thing I wanted to make sure that everyone knew. Like, but I won't be uploading it until the end of the month. Okay, let's see here. What other questions do I have now for the lovely Destra?
Oh.
Honestly, we've almost tackled almost everything when it comes to just opportunities. You even mentioned like the wage gap thing that's still being discussed, and it's a matter of differences with what is being pursued. Privileges as well as other things like that, blah blah blah. Oh, here's something. It goes back to the streaming thing. As you know, like you mentioned, I believe it was Sweet Anita that had the streamer that has Tourette's, but she doesn't let it hinder her and things like that.
Yes.
I'm sure you are also aware of other streamers that I call it abusing the system, where they will accentuate themselves, either like, you know, wearing low-cut shirts or just basically provocative like movements and things like that. Like, do you ever feel that you have to like pretty much go to that level, or B, like, how do you feel about female streamers that do that just to pretty much make it to something?
Well, do I feel I need to go to that level? No. But I think it's good if a woman feels that, you know, she has confidence in herself to, you know, express herself and to utilize what she can to really get people to, you know, maybe draw more people towards her. And I don't think that that's necessary. And how I feel about it is I think that women should do with their bodies what they choose to.
Right.
I obviously there are varying types of women. Some women are more reserved, some are more flamboyant, and you know, I'm one of those. I'm one of the flamboyant ones. I generally, like, I know what I have to work with. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. So I generally don't judge, and I would never judge anyone if they choose to utilize aspects of their physical appearance to get people to pay more attention to them. Do I think that this is necessary, or do I think this is necessary to, you know, make it in Twitch or streaming in general? No. But you know, I definitely do know that if I had a larger chest, that would definitely be accentuated on stream. I know this because it's part of my brand. But at the same time, I also know that that's not what I'm all about. That's not everything that I am. That's an aspect of myself that I would choose to, you know, make more visible. But also, as you well know, you know, once you come for the pretty face, but you stay for the personality.
That's true.
Yeah, so I very much pride myself on being, you know, a thoughtful individual who's really thinking deeply about many different topics, who's very much leaning towards philosophy and psychology. And I think that this is very much my thing that I lean into because it's who I am. And again, like I make no bones about being the classy succubus. It's very much part of my deliberate branding. And you know, I know that I'm weak in many areas physically, So I make use of what I can to, obviously when you're browsing through Twitch or whatever, you're gonna see like just moving video. You're not gonna really you're just gonna see the person that's there. So ideally, I want my skills and my skills and my looks are what's initially going to draw people in. However, that's only going to be the initial source, unless, obviously people can, they may hear things about me. So they may come for a different reason. They may come to see me for a different reason. But those initial aspects are not the end all be all. And I think that anyone with a personality, with some semblance of skill and charisma can stream. And I think that those are the aspects that I pride myself on. And I don't think it's particularly particularly worth judging other women if they choose to do certain acts on camera. That's their prerogative. I'm going to use what I have to work with, just like many guys wear those muscle shirts where it's just they have their arms showing and they're in shape and all that. And at the same time, like, they can do that, and I think that's great. And I think that women are entitled to do what they do, and whatever consequences that come from that, they also need to be ready to accept said consequences. That's another thing.
Okay.
I will not judge them for their actions, but actions do have consequences. And if they draw in a certain type of person, and then they have to deal with that, that's on them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can respect that. That's actually really insightful what you mentioned. Like, almost every action does have consequences. It doesn't have to be negative consequence. It could be positive consequence. Wow. So, but yes, every action does have a consequence, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't really see that until it actually happens.
Yeah, no one's very few people are thinking that far ahead. But thankfully, I already know that. I know we talked about this earlier about me potentially, getting, harassed and such. I already know, I'm well aware of what could potentially happen. But because I don't have large breasts, it's basically not something that I think will happen to me, because all I have to work with is my face and my body, which I keep in very good shape. So it's
rub it in, why don't you? I'm kidding.
I mean, it's what it is.
No. I'm just messing. Please pride yourself on that. Honestly, it's really great.
Yeah, I know what I have to work with. So I most definitely have, again, deliberately calling myself the classy succubus. I know what I'm doing, and I know how to deal with it if I ever encounter it. For the most part. So, maybe I'll be surprised, but for the most part, I know the kinds of people. I know the kinds of people that may or may not come around, but at the same time, they're only going to stick around. They're going to stick around, or they may stick around, for my skills in games, which I do pride myself on. I think that's important, and my personality, my ability to be very well spoken, and to be very thoughtful and willing to have conversations about things. But I do think that, maybe to some degree, some dude rolls up in my stream and then they read my about section, or maybe I'll say it on stream and that I'm transgender, and they oop, and they just peace out.
Better back away of that, man.
Yeah, back far away. Yeah, I'm very used to that, quite honestly. That's happened to me in real life, honestly. So it's not any surprise if it happens. So, yeah.
Understandable. No, I got you. Okay, let's see. Tackle all the hard-hitting questions, and this was fantastic. But now I have one last personal question. Cool. Might be hard to answer, but I'm not entirely sure. You've actually been pretty good with providing answers, even if it's like a answer that says you don't know. So I want to ask this. any last thoughts you want to give out to chat and things like that that might be going through something similar that you've gone through in the past, or right now they're trying to find themselves, trying to find an identity when it comes to just women's history, like, and things like that, or just in general? What would you have to say to them? Like, pretend maybe you're talking to... I'm gonna, like, throw off a leaf here. I have no idea how old you are, but I was like, maybe, like, talk to 18-year-old Destra, and what would you tell them?
Well, I'm not certain 18-year-old Destra would be very receptive. 18-year-old Destra was, was in college at that time. So well, okay, so with that in mind, 18-year-old Destra was very much in the early stages of acknowledging the girl in the cage when it comes to trans issues, but I don't really want to talk. I don't want to focus on trans issues. I want to focus on women and just being being and living as a woman. I think that's really important. So I can't really speak to 18-year-old Destra because they were going through something different.
Gotcha.
Not really related to the topic at hand. So, but what I can say is, I think it's important for all women to really respect themselves. I think we're living in a very unique period of time where there are almost no limits to what you can accomplish. There are almost no limits to what you can pursue. And I think if you truly do want something, this is the best possible time that you could be living in to achieve whatever it is that you're interested in and that you want to achieve. So I understand that the public, news media may be parroting the idea of, gender inequality, or, women, not being able to do the things that they want to do. And the funny thing is, who's saying those things? Women newscasters.
Yes, that's true.
Saying the exact same thing, like, you can't do anything and we're going through a crisis where women can achieve what they want to achieve. Meanwhile, you're sitting behind that desk, having done what you wanted to do, maybe having even bigger dreams beyond that. So, what I'm trying to say is, don't allow the words of others to discourage you or from what it is that you want to achieve. And when it comes to your body, take pride in that too. Women are different. We're all very much shaped differently. We have different body types. There are different things that various women need. But I think at the end of the day, you've got to love you, and you've got to respect what you have to work with. And if there's something that you can improve, that you want to improve, that's totally on you to do, and not something that you should do because someone else tells you to do it. I think it's important to really assert yourselves where it actually makes sense to do so. And even when it doesn't make sense to do so, assert yourself and be confident in yourself, and hold your head high, because I think we need women who are willing to do the things that they want to do, even if it may be seemingly male dominated. I just think that's very, very important and not something that should be lost. Because many strides have been made. Many women have made many sacrifices in the past to have us get to this point, to the stage in our society, or, human society in general. I can only speak for the West, for the US. But at the same time, I do think it's very, very important to really kind of take that step forward. Don't be afraid. Learn the skills that you want to learn. Don't let don't let the idea of it being male dominated to discourage you, and own your body 100%. Don't let anyone else tell you that you're not worth something, because you're definitely worth it.
How are you this articulate with your work? It is so beautiful, I'm not gonna lie. It's like, where have you been all these years? Oh my god.
I've been going through a lot of shit. That's where I've been.
Like, that is so beautiful and insightful.
I'm only this articulate because I've gone through a lot of things in my life, and I've seen a lot of, I've suffered a lot, and I've lost a lot, and I've gone through multiple transformations. I don't mean being transgender. I mean just psychological, societal, financial transformations that have really shaped the kind of person that I am today. And that's part of the reason why I'm not. I'm in no, like, that's part of the reason why I have the values that I have now, and why I continue to find it an utter privilege to be able to live the life that I live, to be seen as a woman by other women, because again, they have no obligation to do so. So I'm just of the mind that that it's just important to be willing to listen, to try to understand the people that you don't agree with, and through these life transformations, I've ultimately found myself in this place where I'm considering many things I didn't consider in the past, and many things that a large swath of people are blatantly ignoring because it's too hard, or it's too scary, or it goes against their inherent ideology. And I think it's very, very important for people and women to very much, well, I mean, obviously women are people, but don't want to get that wrong. But yeah, we're everyone essentially to really think very, very deeply, to be willing to think for themselves, to find the answers to hard questions, and to ask questions, and not simply believe everything that they're told, especially through the news media. Definitely find a path that makes sense, and don't simply believe what you're told, because once you get to a point where you can understand what is actually going on, and what reality is, because reality doesn't make any sense, but once you are willing to think about aspects of living that is not very common for a person, and maybe you've suffered to some degree in the process. I think suffering is integral to growth, and I think that suffering, though life can lead to suffering, and it usually does to some degree, experiencing that can lead to a person finding out that reality isn't all it's cracked up to be. Reality isn't simply what's fed to you on a silver platter. Reality is seeking something beyond that, seeking meaning beyond that, self-thought, having an opinion that you have formed, not from others, but from yourself.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah. But at this point, I'll just, that's why I'm so articulate. I've suffered a lot. Long story short. Yeah.
I can relate. I can relate. I'm not as articulate as you are, mind you. I'm not claiming that at all, but I've seen my fair share of bullshit, and it's shaped me to what I am now and how I see the world now.
Yeah, that's why you're a ghost and I'm a succubus, because we're both living for a really long time, and we talk as though we've lived for a very long time.
Yep. Yep.
That's how this works.
Yeah. It actually works even more because I've pretty much died to that effect, and I'm pretty much still here.
Exactly. And I have the absolute, I would say misfortune, but I would say it's a fortune. It's good fortune to continue to live for a very long time and to utilize my sexual wiles to bring people in and hopefully have a nice conversation with them.
And that's why I'm here.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh man, I had a lot of fun with this. I really did, and it was really great to just sit down and talk.
Yeah,
I,
I'm glad you had me.
I appreciate you coming here. I appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, like I know we had to work around your like schedule and my schedule, but like I'm glad we found a moment where we could just sit and talk for a bit.
Yeah. I'm sincerely grateful that you thought of me. Because I would not expect that, and not because it's not any judge of your character, Phantom. It's because I have this idea, well, the idea that though I live my life as a woman, if you want to have someone talking about, Women's History Month, you just get a biological female. But you thought of me.
Yep.
And I sincerely do appreciate that. I do feel very privileged, again, to have had the opportunity to sit down and talk with you, because we've been wanting to do this for a while, and
I know.
though it's under a specific topic matter, which I guess it's good to be focused.
Right.
You could have chosen other people, or maybe you did, and I'm just glad that you thought of me, of all people. So I don't take that for granted. So thank you.
Of course, not a problem. Like I said, it was what I wanted to do for a while, and I'm just glad I was able to give the opportunity.
Sweet. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I'm going to wrap this up right now. I know that pretty sure you're a little bit busy a little bit later, but like I said, I wanted to make sure I just got your thoughts off right now for at least over an hour. So, Destra, I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to any future endeavors that we might come across.
Yeah, I sincerely hope that we can sit down for another fireside chat. Maybe it won't be by the fire, and maybe elsewhere, but hopefully we can have another opportunity to talk, to just have a conversation, while not streaming at the same time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, Destra, you take care of yourself. All right.
You too.
And thank
Bye
you
bye
again, and thank you again for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Phantom. I will see you later. I'll be streaming later tonight, so maybe I'll see you.
I'll be shouting you out again then. All right, sounds good.
Alrighty, bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, she was fantastic. We're gonna do that right now. Hang on. Destra will be playing later, and I'm gonna shout her out again. There we go. Go check her out. There you go. That's twitch.tv/DestraPlays. It's fantastic. Oh, she was fantastic. I've been wanting to just talk to her for so long. Ever since like I ended up hearing like her opinions and things like that on Michelle's streams, and then just talking to her on her own stream, I'm just like, nope, this woman is got like the mind of beyond scholarly, and I need to sit and talk with her about everything and anything. So this was a great opportunity. Oh man, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I don't think she's streaming yet. She will be on later, but I believe she might be doing more Street Fighter later, unless I was wrong. Which I could be wrong. I've been all over the place. Fortunately, I've been all over the place. Yeah, I'm really glad the music really did help. Like I said, it's part of like Final Fantasy XIV Online. It's just like it's a song that plays during some pretty hard-hitting dialogue. So I'm just like, this has got to work. We both play. I'm pretty sure we both know this one scene, so it's gonna work. Okay. In the meantime, let's see here. Okay. Like I said, I wasn't really like paying attention to the time, like whatever. I was like, I'm giving off an average and whatnot. Here we go. So yeah, we've been at this for like pretty much around the same time we did with Shared's talk. So I'm really glad of that. And like I said, these chats, I can't talk anymore. These chats will be available on the YouTube channel. I'm gonna be really trying to buckle down with like the YouTube channel right now and things like that. Like there are gonna be more changes coming in, come hopefully like late spring, early summer. They'll be on the YouTube channel unedited. I'm not gonna edit these down. They'll be fully there, so get the full experience of what was talked about without any like snippets to make me look like literate and things like that. But yeah, I'm sorry if this was like a little early for some people. Like what was it? Like I said, it wasn't something that was tremendously problematic. It's just the one time that we both had free, since Destra normally streams later at night, and she's very committed with that, as well as she works, I work, and it's just we have to adult in order to survive. So but yeah, it was very fantastic. And like I said, like I don't know if this might be the last Fireside Chat for the month. I'm still waiting to hear back from at least one other person, but it might be. I know one person couldn't because they've just been too swamped. Michelle still feels bad about that. Like she really wanted to take an opportunity with that, but she's just been swamped. And I'm just like, nah. Do your thing. Eat your food. Eat your food. Do your work. It's great. But yeah, like I said, it was never about like just randomly pushing people into it. It's always about providing a voice for people, for them to tell the story if they're comfortable sharing with it. And that's all this was about. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm glad I had this idea. I really did. And yeah, I might do this again, like not even just for like women, just like I might do like something like this for like yeah, I might do something like this for like later on, maybe like near the end of summer going to the fall. I'll be like, hey, how's like how's life going for you? It's been like a while. Maybe like post-pandemic chat, like when we're finally free. Oh man, it's not like she isn't busy. She wouldn't do it. Yeah, of course. Like I said, like it's just a matter of wanting to share time, share stories, and talk. That's pretty much it. I will be doing not like a fireside chat, but like I will be doing like another like makeshift podcast thing in April. Since I'm coming up on 2 years on Twitch, and a lot of people want to hear about my advice on Twitch things like that. So I have like a few points already that I want to bring up. Like I said, I want to fair warn people ahead of time. I'm not angry when it comes to these topics. I'm very passionate about these topics. So if it sounds like I'm angry or cranky, I am not. It's just me giving in the experiences I've experienced, as well as what other people have told me and what I've seen. So it's some things that, like, because like even Destra mentions, like, you got to be like, politically correct, or get like, follow like guidelines so you don't offend anybody. It's something like that where like you really can't say this out loud. So any experiences that I'm saying are my experiences alone. If I do use examples, I will be basically making them anonymously. I will not be giving names or channels, things like that. I will just be giving the experiences that I've noticed, and it's just like, if it falls into something that you recognize, that's completely coincidental. So that's pretty much it. Kind of like South Park. It's like, if it relates to something, that's a complete coincidence. But yeah. Anyway, let me wrap this up because I know I have a few things I have to take care of, like later today, unfortunately. But yes, I will be back normal streaming on Tuesday. We'll be continuing The Walking Dead on Tuesday. In the meantime, let's see if there's anyone we can rate out. Can we rate someone out? Is there anyone? Oh, here's a hilarious thing here. Endorable is fucking doing Homestuck. And it's gonna be hilarious because they've been dreading this nonstop. So I don't know if I want to give everyone that I'm kidding. It's just like I don't want to know if I want to give everyone that Homestuck cancer. Ooh, what you streaming, Naricia? What you be streaming? World of Warcraft. Hey! Ha! Ha! I really gotta play. I really gotta play. I've been playing Classic and 14 online. I don't know what it is, man. Like, I've just been staying away from Shadowlands. It's. I haven't even played it, and it's already leaving a bad taste in my mouth. I gotta play stuff. I gotta play stuff. You'll play with me. I appreciate that. Like I said, it's not even like I don't want to play. It's just like I'm playing so many other games. I'm just like, I gotta finish these other games. It's so good. I don't know. I'll make that assumption once the last patch comes out. I'm a very weird critic when it comes to this shit. Especially since I've played that game since vanilla. But anyway. I'm like Phantom Infest. Oh my god, why do people want me to play Phasmophobia? You know what? I'm taking this off for a minute. Why do people want me to play Phasmophobia? Jesus Christ. You just want to hear me scream, don't you? Ah! I'm screaming! Ah! Ah! I'll get it eventually, I'm sure. But in the meantime, like I said, I'm gonna go raid Ken, since I have not raided them in a while. Like they either never stream when I'm streaming, or like I never stream when they're streaming. So like I might as well just do that, just you know, because they've supported me and things, and they've supported me for the longest time. So let's just do that. I'm gonna go raid Ken. They are reading Homestuck. Please, for the love of God, rub as much salt into the wound as you can to say how much Homestuck sucks. Because they hate it too. they hate it too. So please rub as much salt into the wound as you can. It'll be beautiful. But in the meantime, I will catch you guys on Tuesday. I love you all, and thank you so much for joining us. It was great. I'm gonna peace out and go do laundry, or whatever ghosts do. Bye-bye.